Wholesale Hotline. I'm Brent Daniels.
I'm jdamji.
And I'm Jerry Norton.
And I'm Pace Morby.
Every week we bring you the best information on real estate investing.
Be sure to participate in the comments.
And subscribe.
Enjoy the show!
So thank you so much for calling Wholesale Hotline.
Wow, that's great. Welcome back to Wholesale Hotline number 243. My name is Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, joined by the incredible Jerry Norton, and he's here. I didn't know. Come on in, brother. We're like twins today.
Yes.
Hey,
Nice shirt.
and Jamil DMG.
What's up?
Here, grab this.
Jamil.
Hey, hi. Hey. Here we go. Look at that. These guys are just incredible. How you doing, Jerry?
Jamil, you're back in AZ.
Yeah. Where are you?
Today? We're in Orlando.
Fun. How long are you there?
A couple days, and then Portland, and then back to Puerto Rico. So we're on a little road trip.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I'm here. I'm in AZ for the day. I got to do some work tomorrow, and then I got to be in Canada.
When?
On, I don't know, Wednesday.
Hey, Jamil, how was your challenge day one?
That starts on Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay.
Yep.
I thought it was all week.
Yeah. No, it starts on Wednesday, and I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a good time. I'm excited to come hang out with you in Puerto Rico.
That's coming up too. When is that? Like 2 weeks? Less than 2 weeks.
Island Basura.
Where'd you learn that, Jamil?
That was a good one, though.
That's it. I think you got it right.
We had a great.
I mean,
time
not right, but the word right. Yeah.
He got it right. Brent's like, yeah, affirmative. He's canceled.
Yeah.
We had a great time in Boston together. That was fun.
Yeah.
We had our owners club retreat, our fall retreat.
So tell me what's going on with the title company,
bro.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So we, as part of our owners club community.
Yeah.
We own businesses with the people in those communities,
right?
In that community.
Yeah.
And one of the businesses that we started was a creative finance title company.
I love it.
The problem is that so many title agencies just won't or don't know how to do the deals.
Right.
They don't know how to handle the servicing. They don't know how to handle the paperwork. They botch it.
Mm-hmm.
They totally botch it up. And then they spook out sellers and they spook out all the people and the agents and everyone involved. And so because that kept happening over and over again, one of the first initiatives that we did was start creative title agency. And now that's operating in 43 states. 43 states. If you have any creative finance deals you want to do, lease option, you want to do a contract for deed, you want to do a land contract, you want to do seller finance, you want to do a sub 2, you want to do a sub 2 and an FHA and a sub 2 and a VA.
Not just creative, right? You could do regular
all deals, assignments, double escrows, triple escrows, quadruple escrows, all of the really, really, really fun stuff that most title companies have a hard time doing. We do. And I'm going to give everyone the web address for that title company. But can I tell you what was really cool?
Yeah.
So, it takes money to get these things started, and there was upfront costs and all that. But we finally made some money. We were able to give out a distribution check to all of our partners.
Awesome.
For the first time. And now they're just going to keep going, right? Because we've already handled our startup expenses and we're already profitable. How flipping cool is that?
Jamil, I don't know if you know, but we're working out a deal to offer that through PropWire as our preferred title company.
That's
awesome. Yeah. Jerry, speak to the importance of having a unbelievable escrow officer on your team.
Well, yeah, I mean, that can make or break your deal. Your title company, your transactional coordinator, as wholesalers, we think that our job is to go out there and make the rain and make it rain and do deals. And that's true. But man, I can't tell you how many deals fall apart after you put a deal together because of all these other things that you don't want to have to deal with, or that you are not that good at dealing with, because you shouldn't be. You should be working on your next deal, not figuring out paperwork and closings and escrow and managing seller and buyer and all these moving parts. That's where, you got to have a really good title company. I recommend a really good TC that can kind of manage all those moving parts. And think about it this way. Like if you just close 10% more deals that way, or it's removes a lot of headache off of your plate, like that's just money to the bank right there. It's huge.
Well, and I get the question a lot, Jerry and Jamil. I'd love to hear if you guys also with students that we work with, and they're wondering, what kind of specific language to use. The seller wants something different. They want to stay 17 and a half days. They want to make sure that they get to take, the refrigerator and a chair, and they want the screens from the back patio.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
Just random stuff.
Yep.
And they're like, well, how do I do this? Have the title company draw it up.
100%.
Have the title company put in an addendum together, have you sign it, have the seller sign it, and boom, you're moving forward. I am telling you, all of the language that I've used in my purchase agreements for the last probably 15 years has all been written by escrow officers.
Yeah,
all of them. Or the attorneys.
Post-possession agreements.
Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
them do them as well. So this is it's really a great opportunity for in our community to work with a title company that is not going to blow your deal up.
Right.
GetCreativeTitle.com.
Which I'm telling you, if you just go in cold to a title company that you just see, you just Google title company in my area, and you ask them if they would do any, even a run of the mill assignment deal.
Yeah.
A lot of them won't do it. A lot of them don't.
I had a closing I did a few weeks ago, and in my contract, it was an on-market deal, and then the state-approved contract, it said a clause in there that said, if this contract is amended in any way, the seller has to approve. And so when I did my assignment, title came back and said, well, we need written approval from the seller. And I said, no, we don't. I'm not amending the contract. I'm assigning the contract. There's nothing changing in the contract.
Right.
And I had to fight with them because the seller was in a senior living home, and I would have had to get the agent to go meet the seller in the senior home and bring up all these objections that just aren't necessary. And it was like a fight with this title company. And it was just a reminder to me of like, oh my gosh, this is why you don't use a title company that doesn't understand what we do.
GetCreativeTitle.com. GetCreativeTitle.com. How many states? 43?
40.
That's
and
awesome.
it was surreal, dude. I didn't know that we were going to be giving out distributions.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that we ramped up that fast.
Yeah.
But Pace is a monster.
Is this like a virtual title company, right? It's not like brick and mortar. You're not walking in to get creative title somewhere in each state.
No.
This is all, you could just do this with a phone and on your computer and just reach out.
As it should be.
Well,
in
it
2024.
Well, it is.
I hate having to go to
When
the
was the
title
last time
company.
you went to a title company?
I mean, I just closed on a house and I had to go into the title company and sign.
What?
Yeah, it was like archaic. I felt like, what are you doing? You want me to fax you too?
Did they give you a pie?
There was no pie. No, there wasn't even. Dude, I don't even know what's going on. I walked into the title company and I was like, where's the chocolate?
Right.
Where's the candies? How come
Right.
There's no candies.
Bottle of water?
Unfortunately, it wasn't Fidelity because every time I go to a Fidelity title office,
Mhm.
you get treated good.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because Fidelity has money.
Yeah, they do.
But
They own all of them.
the title company that I had to use, it was seller's choice on this one, and I bought it from a wholesaler, so it was I couldn't do anything about it. But yeah, I went into this janky title company. They they had those little lifesavers.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you
Hey,
guys,
What's up, guys?
pull up some seats. What's
There
going
we
on?
go.
I got to tell you guys a funny story. So right before we flew
What's
to Boston, I had a closing on a flip, and it was I had to go to the title company. So I'm the seller, right? I bought this property, fixed it up, sold it. Well, the buyer was the worst buyer I've ever dealt with. Like they went out of contract, and yet they still wanted to buy it. I had another buyer on the table, but then this buyer came back, and I could close. Anyway, it was just a disaster, and I kept pressuring this buyer to like sign an extension, put earnest money down, like let's close, but like come on, commit to the deal. Anyway, I have to go to closing. The closing's at 9 p.m. in San Juan. So I drive all the way there, 9 p.m. on the 31st. So Halloween night, I got to go to closing. They won't do it any other way. And the buyer would not be in the same room as me because they just hated me, I guess. So I'm in one room, buyer's in another room, and they're going back and forth between us with like docs and stuff to sign. It was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. The buyer would not see me, would not talk to me, wanted nothing to do with me.
Whoa.
I never had that. It was crazy.
And you assigned it to him, or you were
no,
the seller?
it was a fix and flip. So it was just a retail buyer. Yeah, it was just a retail buyer.
And did they know of you in like the past? It was just weird.
But our entire time from contract to closing was a disaster. Like they just, it was just problem after problem.
I understand.
Yeah. So I kept pressuring them to like, show up and be a buyer, and they just didn't like that. So anyway, it
makes sense.
Got it. Guys, it's so important. One of the first people on your personal board of directors has to be an incredible escrow officer. I am telling you, get somebody that has been around. Remember Eileen Brown would come in?
Oh yeah.
To that mastermind lunch every single, she would sponsor it.
Yeah.
Every month.
Yeah. I mean, Eileen Brown is just like one of the most incredible women in the business. I mean, she essentially taught Pace creative finance.
I know.
Like she's an OG goat.
Well, I think Pace went to every appointment and he was like, "How do I do this deal?"
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Yeah, just structure it this way." And he's like, "Okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Year after year after year.
He learned and learned and learned and learned. And now, I mean, of course, he's inventing deal strategies and whatnot. But I know he definitely got his foundation from her. It's pretty cool.
Did you see the Tucson one? Did they text that over to you? Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Brent Daniels is trying to do a deal right now. Well, in studio.
What do you think?
Yeah. That's how it goes. Jamil, how much do you use and recommend a TC for a traditional wholesale business? Like just doing assignments, do you still recommend and use a TC?
Well, at Keegley, we have full-time transaction coordinators there. So absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna put this out there. When I first got started, no, me neither. When I first got started, and it was just me, and I was doing, the volume of deals that I was doing by myself. It was brain damage, but I could have used a TC.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't use one. Now, transaction coordinators, especially on these creative deals, I think you can't get away without one.
How could you? I mean, that would make no sense.
Too much.
But on a wholesale
when you're
deal,
just sending out an assignment, and then I don't necessarily think it's.
What about you, Brent, on assignments? I know not creative, but on assignments, what's your take on a TC?
Yeah, it's well, first I have a full-time TC, Erin Coulter. She's phenomenal and has taken so much responsibility out of my acquisition managers and my disposition managers and just making sure everything gets smooth and schedules everything and makes the most importantly, what she does is makes the seller comfortable with the transaction, which is huge. So she's reaching out, she's helping get any of the documents that we need, helping with the showings, helping with making sure that when it gets close to the closing, they know what the expectations are. All of those things that my acquisition team was doing before, now they can just focus on setting appointments and going and building a relationship with those property owners and getting them to commit to working with us. So it's been huge. It's been night and day. I mean, this is our biggest year ever. We made that transition into all inbound leads as opposed to outbound, which has been my whole career for 20 years. So this is the first year where we're not making cold calls or text messaging. And because of that, we've got a bunch of inbound. They got to get on those appointments right now because they're ready to go. And so that gives them the opportunity to open up their schedule. And so she's phenomenal with it. She's sending out the DocuSigns, letting us all know when they get signed, opening up the escrow, working with Dina, our escrow officer. It's phenomenal.
And, especially when you're talking about your team is how big? Yeah, you got 4 or 5 acquisition people? How many?
I've got 3.
3 acquisition people. So at that level and the volume that they do, especially because his act guys are really good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want your star act guy sending out docs and worrying about calling the buyers and finding out where their hard money lender is and how come we don't have loan docs and any of that stuff.
It's also like they're income producing, they're not income servicing. And I think you need income servicing people in your business so that the income, the acquisition guys, this. They just want to win. Yeah. They just want to do deals and they want to win. They just want to win the deal and move forward and keep going and build that relationship, get it to the finish line. But they want that big win. And when somebody's servicing the income, it helps it.
I think it's, it makes a lot of sense, Brent, where you're at, because you can in-house them and they can handle, all your contracts. But I even think for people maybe that aren't doing that type of volume, maybe onesie, twosie, you can outsource a TC where it's a per transaction thing. And then what you can do is you can even put on your assignment that fee, that TC fee, is paid by the buyer. Now, if it's a big fee, they're going to probably say something about it, but we get away with $595 on there. Maybe it costs me a little bit more than that if it's a hairy deal, like there's issues and the TC has to do more work. But we pass that off to the buyer, and very rarely does the buyer contest that with us. They just pay it. And it's on the closing statement.
Guys, a TC is a transaction coordinator. That's what TC stands for. And I agree with you, Jerry. We had when I was just a realtor, we would have somebody that was an independent contractor that would just work with all of them. So, you find somebody, maybe you want to go meet them and see them. You could do it again all over the phone. You could have a transaction coordinator that lives in Maryland doing deals in Phoenix. No problem. Yeah. As long as they understand the paperwork and they understand what's going on with, title and escrow. Well, if you have somebody with title and escrow with you guys, it just makes it a lot.
We had a really cool experience this week where I used Ella Ray, and she's on here often, and she's in sub 2 community and stuff. She's awesome. So she TC'd a deal, and the deal went kind of hairy. The seller had code violations on the house, and there was a lot of delays. And so Ella just stepped in and she worked with the buyer, worked with the seller through this whole process of weeks, getting the code violations solved and everything. And then at the closing, this is just a traditional assignment, 20K assignment. I noticed that her fee is not on the buyer side. It's on the seller side. I'm like, Ella, why is your fee on the seller side? And she's like, well, the seller loved me so much helping her through this process of the code violation stuff that she offered to pay my fee. So we moved it from the buyer paying it to her paying it. And she offered to pay me more than what my fee was. And it was like, wow. And I wasn't involved in any of that. Like, there was all kinds of stuff going on, and she just handled it all, keeping everybody on the same page, title, coordinating things, working with the city to get the code violations all handled, like all of it. And so it was just like, to me, another reminder, like, I am so glad that I wasn't neck deep in all of that. And I had a TC handling it for like $1,200 or whatever it was.
I want to flex a little bit, if you guys don't mind. All right. Can you, for the people on the screen, I want you guys to see this. Can you see that amount?
Yeah.
No,
it's not your phone. It's the camera.
Okay.
It's focused on us.
All right.
Yeah.
Focus on us. So sorry that failed. But anyways, I wanna Brent, can you read that number out?
$5,872.87.
All right. $5,872.87. Let's do a little math here, okay? $5,872.87.
Gotcha.
And so that's what I just got sent on one of my properties, okay, for rent. Now, that's my gross income. I'm going to tell you guys here what my my mortgage payment is on that. It's 24. That's PITIs. It's a little under $2,400 a month. Okay. So.
3472.
3472. 3,472. Now, I got about $400 in expenses on that, and this for internet and the other garbage, right? So let's just call it $3,000. Okay, I got $3,000 a month coming in on this one house. Guess how much money I have into it?
How much?
Nothing.
What? How's
Zero.
that possible?
Zero.
What do you mean?
I have $0 into this house
Yeah.
because I bought it, I fixed it, I filled it with co-living tenants.
Yep.
I refinanced it, and I got all of my money out plus $20,000.
Yeah.
In addition, on top of what I had into the house, and I'm now cash flowing $3,000 a month net. So what's that times by 12? 36,000.
Yep.
The average American makes how much a year?
65,000.
65,000. So that's half the salary of the average American from one home. One home that I have no money into.
How'd you find that house? Because guys, listen, without a doubt, you make money when you buy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me just say this.
You want to know where I got this
as
house?
loud and
You want to know
clear.
how I found this
Yeah.
house? From dudes like that. Wholesalers. I bought it from a wholesaler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where at?
Here in Phoenix.
You bought a wholesale deal
I bought a whole deal.
and
In your backyard.
I fixed it up
You-
and
you rented it.
I rented it.
Did you get the DSCR loan?
I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is income based.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. You guys should look into that.
And I got all of my money out plus the $20,000. I got a $20,000 payday on refi day.
Uh-huh.
I don't got to pay taxes on that $20,000, by
course
the way,
not.
because
It's
it's a
debt.
loan.
Yeah.
It's debt. And now I'm cash flowing $3,000 a month net.
Come on.
Net. And guess what's even
How
better?
many tenants?
There's 6 tenants in there.
Okay.
Guess what's even better?
Hmm.
I have 10 more of these in construction right now.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Just picking them off.
I'm changing my whole game. I'm changing my whole life
Yeah.
because do this 10 more times.
Right.
That's $30,000 a month.
Yeah.
Net.
Yeah.
Net.
That could pay for the gas for all of your cars.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome. Except for the Cybertruck.
Oh, I pay nothing.
And that's right, baby. That's it. Do you hear that, Jerry? Stop sending us those memes, dude.
Also,
it's a
for-
cool car.
All those people who slammed me on Reddit saying I was an idiot for buying the Cybertruck. I just it just pulled up beside your house today, right? Okay, that thing made me $800 last month.
Yeah.
$800 net. Net.
I know. Awesome. So real quick. So are you looking for single family properties that aren't in HOAs that you can do a pad split on? Is that your main focus?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because HOAs do have a problem with it.
Yep.
Some cities have a problem with pad split.
I'm
because
only
of-
going Phoenix because you can have up to 6 unrelated people in one house in the city of Phoenix.
Right. Mesa, only 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So deed restrictions, right? You guys have to look into deed restrictions if you're going to do that. Make sure, and whoever you have, do you have somebody managing it, or are you doing it yourself?
This
property.
Oh, so my sister is doing just like the regular management of it, but it doesn't need a lot, dude.
Right.
We don't have any turnover in there.
Yeah.
Part of the strategy, like some people are doing co-living and they're doing it wrong.
Right.
If you know how to equip these rooms the right way and pick the right properties in the right areas, you have no turnover. I have no turnover in those units.
How do you pick the right areas?
There's a number of criteria. We look for specific types of services, specific types of access to transportation, and job opportunities. And you pick those things. You pick those things right. And there we have certain criteria that we check boxes on.
Yeah.
And filling those things up takes less than 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does each room rent for?
I'm getting
So that's got to be like
a little over
$800.
No,
$900 a room.
it's $1,000 a room.
Yeah.
It's sometimes a little over $1,000 a room, but then pad split takes their fee.
Got it.
Yeah.
And who are the type of people that rent a room?
Regular people, dude.
Yeah.
So you would think, you're gonna have some problematic tenants and whatnot. I've had nothing but sweethearts just having a hard time. They all of a sudden got a notice on their door that their property got sold to some guy named Brent Daniels, and they can't pay their rent.
Right.
And they go looking for another property to rent, and it's 3 times what they were paying for rent before.
Yeah.
And so they're like, what do I do? And it's really just like working class people who
you
can't afford rent.
You talked about it 2 years ago, Jamil. You
Yeah.
talked about affordable housing, and going towards that, and that being an actual, not just from a financial side, but from like a your heart side. Like,
dude, what I can't ignore the fact that I have been a part of making over 7,000 homes more expensive.
Right.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
I've been in that. I've made over 7,000 homes.
Yeah,
more
but
expensive.
with that increases property taxes, which increases services,
Sure,
spaces,
of course.
security, schools.
Listen, I'm not saying it's bad.
Right.
I'm not saying it's bad. I believe in progress, and I also think that gentrification isn't a terrible thing.
Right.
In some aspects.
Right.
But there are some aspects of it that have a double-edged sword.
Sure.
And that's what I want to be helpful towards,
Yeah.
right? If I know that I'm a part of a problem and I'm honest about it, well, then I can also be a part of the solution,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for every home I wholesale, why don't I make a promise to myself that I'm going to add another affordable room into the market?
Right. It's awesome. It's awesome. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I mean, I think if you're just transacting, then at some point in time, you're going to want to think about residual income and what that looks like. There's lots of different ways. I'm kind of more going down the road of software, lending, as my passive income model, a little more away from operating and renting. But I love the idea, and I think it's a fantastic need in the marketplace, and I think it's awesome.
And you got it from a wholesaler.
And I bought that from
That's
a
what
wholesaler.
people don't understand. If you know in your mind, if you know for a fact that you make money when you buy, then you better go make friends with people that can find you discounted real estate.
The wholesaler who sold me that deal made $50,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, I just, wholesaling in the realtor circles and in a lot of buy and hold circles and multifamily circles is kind of like, this is where you start, or this is like the bottom feeders or whatever they want to call it. But it's like the chef can't cook a meal without the steak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're essentially calling, like, we're the farmers, baby.
100%.
We're the farmers. We're getting our
every
hands dirty. We're
business
providing the steak for this meal. You know what I mean?
Every business model has a wholesale step up
yes.
process.
Right.
Every business model.
Right. Yeah.
From McDonald's, Big Macs to beautiful homes.
I love it. A couple questions here. Guys, put in your questions. We're going to be jumping all over the place, answering your questions. Thank you for participating. We know that the time change, this episode every single year is always, people hop on later because of the time change.
Can I ask
which
a
is
question
great.
though?
Yeah.
Who are you people who don't have cell phones? Because you know what happened to me because of daylight savings time? Nothing.
Yeah.
My phone did what it's supposed to do, and it auto updated itself. And so my life also auto updated.
Yeah.
Who are you wind up dolls out there that don't have cell phones?
Jamil, we stay at 5:00 though.
But I was just in a place where they did fall back an hour.
Yeah.
Right. But I still made it to my morning session on time. Why? Because my cell phone updated itself while I was asleep, and it knew to wake me up at the time that it was supposed to wake me up at because of a thing called an alarm. So I ask all of you wind-up dolls out there who are not here today, why?
Well, it's instead of 8:00 on the East Coast, it's 7:00.
Okay.
You get that, right?
Yeah, I do understand.
We're the only one that doesn't change.
I was on the East Coast. I
know, but if you're used to it starting at 8:00, now it's starting at 7:00.
Oh, I understand.
Because we don't change.
Got
We're
it.
still at 5:00 here.
Okay.
So
I take it back. You're not a wind-up
Jerry's
doll.
used to it being, 8:00 in Puerto Rico.
That's why I was texting, because I don't understand time travel. I don't understand it. I just don't get time travel. Confuses me every time.
Yeah, I got all these people in the chat right now saying, Jamil, do you not understand this? It's not the same time. It's at a new time. Okay, you're right. Okay, I'm the wind-up doll. I got it.
Jerry, what is the best advice for somebody just starting out?
Well, I think when you first start out, you've got so many things that you're thinking about you need to do. And you tend to get really excited. You're in this honeymoon phase. You're learning things as you learn new things. It's so exciting. Like, oh my gosh, I'm learning all these cool things. I'm so excited. And what you do is you end up talking yourself out of doing what you really need to do, which is the one thing that's going to result in a deal. Because if you don't do the things that result in deals, you don't get any deals, and it's all for nothing. So you've got to have quality conversations with sellers or agents that have distressed real estate. And you have to, at some point in that conversation, put a number in front of them, an offer, we call that. And if you're not doing that every single day, you're not going to get a deal. You're not going to get any money. And you're going to be back on Wholesale Hotline next week with no deals, and next week with no deals, and next week with no deals. And you're going to keep asking this question, what do I do to get my first deal? Guys, whatever you're doing, none of it means anything. It's all a big waste of time until you talk to somebody about selling their house. Like, what do you got to do to get on the phone and talk to somebody? Until that happens, you're not actually doing anything. You're just spending your time, you're getting ready or whatever you're telling yourself. But you need to tell yourself, if my head hits the pillow tonight and I haven't had 5 quality conversations where I made an offer, then I didn't actually do the business. I didn't do anything. At least I didn't do anything that would result in something happening. And so I think people in the beginning, they really got to grasp that. They really got to that's got to sink in, and it's got to be part of your every single day. Like, you've got to get to that place. How fast can you get there is what you need to be asking.
So I love that. And I have a chicken and an egg scenario here that I think we could maybe help solve for Michael here, because he's probably sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, I'll get on the phone. Sure. I'll talk to a homeowner. I'll talk to a real estate agent, but I don't know what to say, or I don't know what to offer. So how do people get past that? What would you say, Jerry, and Brent, to somebody who's like, okay, I'm not scared of getting on the phone. We have another gentleman in the chat right now saying, this is the first time I've ever been on this channel before. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about buying and selling wholesale real estate. That's undervalued or as is valued homes that require a tremendous amount of work that we put under contract and then sell to other investors for a profit. We can make anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 sometimes per deal. That's why you're here listening to us today, because you want to learn how to make money and you want to learn how to make big money fast. So what would you say to Michael here about how to get over the fact that maybe he doesn't know what to say or he doesn't know what to offer?
Yeah. Here's what I would say. Here's what I would say to Michael or anybody listening to this. There's a huge difference between an offer price and a buy price. And often in the beginning, and even experienced people, they get those two mixed up. You think that whatever number you offer an agent or a seller, that number needs to be legit. It needs to be accurate. It needs to be right on. Because what if they say yes, right? And I don't want to contract a bad property. I don't want to buy a bad property. I don't want all these things. All these bad things are going to happen if I don't get that number right. And the reality is your job is to uncover motivation. And the way that you uncover motivation is to put an offer that's low enough, doesn't even have to be accurate, just low enough, and see how they respond. If they respond favorably, then like, okay, let's go down this road. Let's dance. You're motivated. You clearly are looking for the speed and convenience of a cash offer. Let me see what we need to do now. And now you can worry a little bit about that analysis and comping and all the formula and all of that. But honestly, if you just look at it and you go, okay, what's the Zillow number? I'm going to offer 50% of that. And if they respond somewhat favorably to that, okay, you've uncovered motivation. Let's go. But most of the time, I mean, we're only looking for 5 to 10% of the market that's motivated. That's our job, not to create motivation, but find motivation. And if we're doing that right, then the cream will rise to the top. You'll filter out everybody who's not actually motivated, and you'll start talking to people who are motivated. And that process is where everyone gets hung up. They think that they have to have that all figured out, be super good at comping and all of that, which is important. I mean, learn how to do that, gain that skill. But in the beginning, you're making it out to be way more than it really is. You don't actually need to know that much about what we're doing to start putting offers in front of people. Because again, you're trying to just uncover that motivation.
I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound super self-serving, but I'll put a disclaimer out there. You need a teacher. before any of this, you need to have a teacher. You need somebody that's going to show you exactly what you're going to do. I don't care if it's somebody local. I don't care if it's somebody on YouTube. I don't care if you're listening to a podcast. You need somebody's path that you're going to follow. And I highly suggest that you find somebody that's been in the business a minimum of 10 years. A minimum of 10 years. That's what I always did. I always, whether I was a real estate agent or I was flipping houses or I was doing assignments or building a rental portfolio, always found a teacher and just stuck with it. Right. And once you have that teacher, then it's putting you to the front of the line. You're taking all that experience and all that learning and saying, okay, this is what you need to do. Go do it. And then if you're not going to do it, because you feel insecure, you have self-doubts, you have imposter syndrome, you have all these, distractions, or you've done something before and got disappointed, then find other people to do it with you. Find other people that have a passion for this. Find other people that you can connect with.
We've got 3 young men in the audience with us, right? Those guys are superstars. How old are you, John? John is 29. He makes $150 a month ish. 120 to 150.
How many deals?
120 to $150,000 a month.
105 deals this year.
Matt Justice is how old? 25. He's 20, and you make how much? $75,000 a month. And the trainer bro over here.
Come on.
What's the question?
How old are you?
22.
22 years old, and you make how much a month? $50,000 to $65,000
How much
a
time
month.
did you just spend in Europe? 66 days in Europe this year. Will you guys come here so they can see you? So
we're not. So you guys don't think we're just talking to ghosts over here.
Talking to like stuffed animals. There they are.
Look at these guys.
There you go.
Look at these studs over here. Incredible. And you see they're handsome, but they're not all that smart.
Yep.
These guys are like, you suck, Jamil. No, I you had how much? What? 2.4. He had a 2.4 GPA in college. You make more money than a doctor. You know that? Yeah. Well, he's really smart. John Galan is really smart. He was an actual accountant, and you make way more than a doctor. And you're pretty smart too, but you didn't go to college, did you?
I didn't even apply.
I love this. I love this business so much. I love this. So what would you, since you've been in the business for about 2 years. You've been in the business about 2 years, 3 years, and you've been in the business 3. What would you say? How would you answer that question? What would you say to somebody who's just getting started? I'd like to hear from somebody who just got started. Go ahead.
I mean, I would say first you got to figure out if you're going to build a wholesale business, right? What is your intention with it? Do you want to build a big business? Do you want to just wholesale a couple of deals to fund like a flipping business? Like, what is your intention with wholesaling? What's your end goal with it? And then once you have your intention, then you can start figuring out what's my market, right? Based on your intention, you'll be able to figure out your market easier. Because if you plan on flipping, then your first wholesale market is going to be the market you plan on flipping deals in or holding whatever, right? Then once you pick your market, you're going to pick your outreach method. Am I going to be calling agents? Am I going to be calling sellers? Or am I going to be focused on getting buyers and selling other wholesalers deals? And then once you have your intention, your market, and your outreach method, you just focus only on that for at least 90 days. And then you'll just start getting some momentum that way. And you'll learn a lot from that experience. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to cancel. I canceled my first 15 contracts in a row. And to be honest with you, after contract 10, I was like, I don't need any more. But, then the rest of them, I was like, I'm really good at canceling contracts right now. So I don't worry about if I lock it up at the wrong price. Right. I just trust my numbers and I'll know how to get out of the situation.
Right there, just build a callus, right? Be like, okay, I made a mistake. I got the number wrong. Let me try again. How about you, Matt?
That was really good advice. I think that honestly, you just got to start calling people in the industry, no matter who it is, whether it's you talking to lenders and figuring out how their borrowers are getting deals, and then you finding a strategy that works for you, talking to other people in the industry, whether they're actual buyers themselves or other wholesalers, and just start figuring out what other people are doing and what's working for them in the market that you want to get in. And just kind of going from there and just keep making calls and just trying to connect with as many people as possible. Because I thought there was one way to do deals, but there turns out to be multiple different ways to do deals. And then you kind of start trying it all. Then you figure out, okay, I'm really not good at these other ways. I'm really only good at this way. So then just stick to the one thing that you're good at and just keep doing that thing over and over and over again. And that's really about it.
Yeah, I agree with both these guys. I think also too, big part of it, you got to get around the right people who are doing the things that you actually want to do, and go make messes and create a bunch of chaos and fail, and then bring it back to your people and then get it fixed. And now you know what to do next time. And then all of the questions that you have of what to do starting out, they go away if you're just around people that are doing it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Great answers. There you go. And Jerry, what are your thoughts on this question?
Yeah, I think those guys are spot on. I mean, I love that advice. I think it's just really comes down to taking that action, you know, like, I mean, like I see this question, I see it quite often. And Michael's asking, you know, what's your best advice for someone who's just starting out? But honestly, Michael, I'll bet you, I'm willing to bet that you already know enough. You don't need more advice. You already know enough right now to at least take massive action, which is going to lead you down the path of learning the things you need to learn. Because I can give you all the advice in the world. So can Brent and Jamil and Pace and those guys. And you might be like, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. But honestly, a good coach and all of that's going to head you in the right direction. But until you do it and you learn from it, either learn from it by doing it right, learn from it by doing it wrong, none of it means anything. None of it will sit. None of it will sink in. So I just think you build on what you already have. Take action. You're going to learn as you do that. Take more action. You're going to learn as you do that. And the next thing you know, you're off to the races and you're doing deals and you're learning as you go. And you'll never stop learning. Like, I'm constantly learning new things. And I think Brent and Jamil are the same way. Like, they're 20 years deep, but they're always learning. They're perpetual learners in this business. So there isn't some magic pill that's going to all of a sudden get you to deals. It's the fundamentals. It's always the fundamentals.
I wish there was.
Me too.
Talk to people. I mean, that's it. Listen, you could go out right now. Here's some instruction. I'm going to teach you something. It's going to
Earth
just
shaking,
break your brain. This is more.
Here we go. Profound. Here comes some profound advice.
More profound than daylight savings time.
Hit us with the calculus.
Okay.
Brent.
Go find an ugly house and talk to the owner.
You don't say. It's what? No.
Guys, you're hearing it here for the first time. Talk to property owners that own ugly houses. All right. It is the secret. Don't tell anybody that you're going to do it, though. Okay. Because once people find out about this, all the ugly houses are going to go away. They're all going to be pristine. It's going to be like the beautiful, every community is going to be perfect and pristine. Guys, there are
so many.
6 to 10% of the real estate market is motivated. That's the fact. And so that's upwards to 14 million properties at all times. There's going to be some form of motivation, and it's either the property problems or the personal problems. If you don't want to filter out the personal problems yet, go look for the property problems. They're the ugly houses. That's it. That's all. That's how you get going. That's what I did for my first 20 deals. I had a garbage bag that I had taped around my back window because we had a terrible hailstorm in 2010.
And it broke your window?
And it broke out the window. I couldn't afford to fix it. I don't even think I had to have insurance, but I was I don't know. I was a knucklehead. And so I was driving around with this thing. It's flapping in the back. I'm looking at houses that I know that Derek Jar would buy. I write down the address. I find the phone number somehow or knock on the door, talk to the property owners, did 20 deals like that with no CRM, with no website, with no business cards, with no logo, with nothing.
What about a fancy script like the perfect script, you know?
Oh yeah, I was really refining that. I was just going through and I was like, oh, I got to say the perfect thing because that'll convince them to sell to me.
Yeah,
at a great
if you say the right words in the right order, it's hypnosis.
It is hypnosis. Yeah, it is. There you go. So great question there. Here's a good question. How can Randy get a 6-figure assignment?
Ooh.
Do a luxury deal.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do a luxury deal.
Speak on it, Jerry.
Well, I mean, typically we're talking about a percentage of income or percentage of value, right? So, you know, if you're flipping a $50,000 house, then more than likely you're going to get a $5,000 or $10,000 assignment. you know, maybe every now and then you can get more than that, but it's very normal to flip a $500,000 house for $600,000. Like that's a very normal thing to do. So the higher you go up in price point, naturally, the bigger the fees. So, I mean, that's one way that's very simple. Like in Puerto Rico, where I live is all luxury homes, and all the wholesale deals I do there are 100K assignments because that's the price point of the houses. So, you know, like I did one that was a 800 to 900. I did one that was a 500 to 600. So like, that's a lot easier to do, in my opinion, is just go up in price point.
My 6-figure assignments have all come from land.
Mm.
So that's where I've made the most money on a deal. You know, my biggest assignment still is $276,000. That was on a 4-acre parcel in Chandler, Arizona. And I did 100K on a 1-acre lot in Arcadia. I've done another, I mean, and portfolio deals. When we do portfolio, like multiple houses, we make 6-figure assignments on that. But those are very complex. You got to be really, really, really good at scheduling the closings and making sure, especially if you buy it all on one contract and you're wholesaling them all out separately, it can get a little hairy there. So for me, land was it. Jerry saying luxury. What would you do, Brent?
Well, one, I would make sure that you talk to as many buyers in your market as possible. I think the more buyers that you have, the more that you can recognize potential, right? The more that you can put deals in front of your list of cash buyers, the more that you're going to understand what they're looking for. And you can see potential in something that other people can't because you've had these conversations with investors that are a few steps ahead of you, or maybe they're generations ahead of you in where they're at wealth-wise, and they can just pour into you exactly what they're looking for. They need you to find those deals for them. So one, have a lot of buyers, and two, let the seller give you the price first. Let them don't just throw out some price right off the bat. Just pull out the price that they want. It'll shock you. It will absolutely shock you what some people will say that they want for their house and be absolutely happy with. And so pull out the price from the seller first every single time. Try to do it. If you can't, then you're going to have to show your cards a little bit. But for the most part, I think my guys can pull out the price 80-90% of the time. Yeah.
Love it.
I got this question here, which is great. Do you run into trouble dispoing on market deals? I have a few on market leads, but hedge funds won't give an offer for on market, and I do not want to get backdoored by buyers I try to assign my deal to.
I do on market deals all the time. I know Jerry does as well. So I'll give a small answer here, and I'll pass it over to these other two. You don't necessarily do a lot of on market stuff, do you, Brent?
No.
So Jerry and I are mainly the only guys here that'll do this. So I'm not primarily dispoing to hedge funds. I don't necessarily even like dispoing to hedge funds for the following reasons. Number one, they always require a longer inspection period on those deals. Usually it's 2 weeks. And in the kinds of deals that we're doing, we typically don't have longer than 10 days. And I don't want to give my entire inspection period away to a buyer. And hedge funds will not buy without an inspection period. And so that disqualifies them for me. Now, have I sold to hedge funds? Yes. Is it my preference? Absolutely not. So
they'll break your heart.
Yeah, I am going primarily to mom and pop fix and flippers to sell my deals to. Now, with respect to getting backdoored, I put the deals under contract, so there's no way for me to get backdoored. I'm in control of the deal. What about you, Jerry?
Yeah, I would say a couple things is, first of all, you have to understand that when you're doing on-market wholesaling, you're going to have some buyers that just aren't going to be interested. They're just going to be like, oh, it's on market. For whatever reason in their mind, they've made that out to be not a deal. And so just because you have one buyer say to you, oh, I'm not interested, it's on market, doesn't mean that's reflective of all buyers.
Right.
So just know that you got to talk to more buyers. There's going to be a buyer for your deal. There's buyers like me. I buy from wholesalers that are on market. I don't care. I could care less where the deal comes from or how much you make. I only care about the money
This-
in my pocket, not your pocket. But
this
that's not
deal-
everybody.
This deal was on market.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jamil didn't care. He just wanted a deal. So,
Yeah.
but just know that when you're talking to some buyers, they may be like, oh, this is on market. I'm not interested. And it's just like, okay, that again, that doesn't mean that's everybody. That's just that person. Second is I've never heard of, it's never happened to me, getting backdoored on an on-market deal because there's agents involved, and agents are not going to allow another buyer to come in and contract with the seller. It's just not going to happen. Now, direct to seller happens all the time because there's no gatekeeper in there, and an agent's not going to lose their license and recontract with someone else when there's a contract with you already in place. So that's a fear you've made up in your head about getting backdoored with an on-market deal. It will not happen. So I think don't worry about that one, and just talk to more buyers. And what I do is I like to talk to buyers. Here's what I like to say to buyers. I like to say, hey, we have a lot of different strategies we use to get deals. Some of these are on market. We work very hard with agents to get good deals. Some of these deals are listed. Some of them aren't. Do you have an issue if I bring you a deal that fits your buy box if it happens to be listed? Do you have an issue with that? If you do, I need to know because I don't want to waste your time. And so I'm sort of like pre-teaching to my buyers that I might be bringing you on-market deals, but trust me, they're good deals. And usually I overcome that objection, and they're like, yeah, if it fits my numbers, I don't care. And so you just have to sort of know that going into it.
I also like to try to have a nice gap between list price and where I'm selling my deal.
Definitely.
I think, even for those buyers that are a little bit hesitant to do on-market deals, if you send them, let's just say, for instance, you got a house listed at 400 grand and you send them that address at 290, they're going to look at that and they're going to be like, whoa, what is this? I'm going to comp this one. It intrigues them.
Yeah.
And then because it shows, and even though it's an artificial value, the 400 wasn't real because the house didn't sell at that. It kind of creates a price anchor in the buyer's mind, and it makes them want to pay more attention to the deal and look further. Now, of course, we're not tricking anybody here. It's either if it's not going to sell if it's a bad deal. But I want that buyer to spend the time and actually underwrite it to see if it's going to be one that fits for them.
I had this one time, Jamil, and I'm sure you've had this happen, where it came out brand new listing for like $99.9, and it was a smoking hot deal. It was listed way under value, and I locked it up immediately. And I knew the agent. We got the seller, and we locked it up, full price offer. Well, when I go to dispo this thing now, I had all kinds of objection because I took it to market at 125, and they all saw it listed for 100.
Yeah.
So I got all this pushback. I ended up finding a buyer at 125, but I had to work through that issue with all my buyers. They're like, dude, why are you bringing this to me at 125? It's listed for 100. I'm like, I know, but look at the deal. Look at the numbers. And I finally got someone that was able to see past that, but it was a huge hurdle. I had to overcome that hurdle.
Same thing was happening to this guy who sold me this one, because he had it under contract at 200 and I paid 250 and it was listed at 200.
Yeah.
So I paid 50K over list on that one, but I was doing that on purpose because I had a plan for this.
Yeah.
I was putting myself in that spot specifically because I wanted to show that I could make this model work, even overpaying for the house.
Yeah, but I'm sure that wholesaler had objections from other buyers who were like,
absolutely.
Wait a second, you're bringing this to me way over list price. Yeah.
Yep.
So just know, guys, if you're taking a property to market and it's anywhere near list price, you're going to have that objection. Buyers are going to be like, this doesn't feel like a deal, because what they're looking at list price, not buy price, not value. So you have to overcome that.
Matt's taking this question a step further. What do you do when you contract a property off market by an agent, then they list it at your contract price?
I love this.
Oh yeah.
This has happened to me probably 100 times.
Yeah.
So break it down real. So you get it off market, so it's not listed, but it's with an agent.
Right. So what Matt's doing is a technique I taught him called agent outreach, right? And he goes to real estate agents and he has a conversation with them about if they have any pocket listings or anything that they know of coming to market that's in original condition or needing a lot of work. And so when that pocket listing gets sent to Matt, the agent hadn't put it on the MLS yet. Matt's like, I'll take it. And then that real estate agent makes a bonehead move and then goes and lists it on the MLS for the price that Matt contracted the house for. Now it hurts Matt because now he's got to sell that property above list price because he put it on the MLS for contract price. So now he's got to do what you just talked about and what the guy who sold it to me had to go through, which is he's got to work 10 times harder to try to find a buyer for the deal. What I'll typically do when that happens is I will call that real estate agent right away. And I'll say, hey, I asked for specifically off-market deals. And I know we contracted this one before you put it on the MLS and then you put it on the MLS, but honey, I can't buy this if it's on the MLS. You need to take that listing down now. And when they're like, well, why? I said, because you're creating a price stamp for me on this house. And when I go to flip this thing, I'm going to have appraisal issues and I don't want that. So take it off the MLS, please.
Yeah. Another way, Jamil, that I'm overcoming this, because this is easier to overcome now than ever before. And Matt, when you buy this,
it's a guy too, by the way, just in case you guys are wondering. Sorry, Jerry.
I know.
Yeah. So Matt, when you buy these properties now, if an agent brings you a lead, here's what I would do. I would take that away from a listing to a buyer's agreement, because what they're doing is they're feeling obligated to put this thing on the MLS and market pending and sold, so that they're creating a listing because that's what they thought they were doing with you, was just pre-selling it or selling it right before list. So that's why they're feeling like they need to list it. So what I'm doing is I'm telling them, look, this isn't a listing. You don't have a listing agreement. I'm covering your commission. Whatever commission you're getting paid, put that all on the buyer side, put that on me. I'm going to make sure that's getting paid on my side, not the list side. Now, really, I mean, you're just getting a bird dog fee through your brokerage. Like, let's run it through your brokerage so you're on the up and up. But this is not a listing now. You do not need, and I have this conversation before it happens, and now I'm asking them to take it down. I'm coaching them on how to not make this a listing. And I think that'll really help you through that issue there.
Yeah, a lot of them think that the only way that they can get paid is if it's on the market.
Well, they're making a paper trail. They're just trying to create a paper trail of what they're doing. And it makes sense why they would do it.
Some realtors are misinformed that they have an obligation to put it on the MLS as well. I've heard some agents say that, oh, I have to. It's illegal if
you back out in the inspection, we need to make sure that it's ready to get another buyer.
Some do. Some have, if they take on a listing, they have to put that on the MLS.
Right.
But that's why I'm saying don't make it a listing. Take it away from a listing.
Awesome. I want to answer this question. Cold calling baller. Hey, Brent, who do you use to scrub against the DNC list when dialing with the Mojo dialer? Ran across an angry seller who said they will report me to their lawyer. Yeah, guys, I've been suggesting to scrub against the DNC list since 2017. Nobody listens to me because you guys are out there and you guys are doing what you do. But
which goes back to the whole thing of, it's not a bad idea to get a coach.
Right. Well, I mean, you got to
listen to your coach too, Jamil.
Well, yeah, that's the other part. But listen, if you've never dealt with any lawsuits, it's a scary thing. You know what I mean? And when somebody slaps you and you get served for calling somebody on the DNC, it's not going to feel great. Now, can they go after you and take everything from you? No, but they can try to get at least $500 out of you, $1,000, $1,500
like
more.
$2,500. Right. And my answer to that is just ignore it. Really, they're not going to litigate you for a $2,500 settlement. That what's happening is these are known litigators. I'm not telling you to look. I'm not giving you legal advice first, okay? But here's what I do. Okay, if I've ever had a situation where someone's like serving me, you're not going to litigate me for $2,500. There's no chance. I know what it costs to sue somebody. I know what it costs to go to trial. I know what it costs to chase somebody down and serve them too. So they're going to send you a demand letter. The demand letter is going to say, we're going to sue you unless you pay us $2,500 extortion, right? So you just don't accept service.
There's literally courses on it now.
Yeah.
There's literally courses that people take on how to shake down anybody. I mean, and it's not just our industry; it's any industry, and so I just want you guys protected, and especially if you're doing.
Where is where can they scrub against the DNC?
Well, I get my numbers from Deal Machine, and they say it right there. I mean, it's right there in the download. Same with Batch, same with everybody. It'll be on there. The one thing that I would scrub is the litigator list, right? These are people that have filed lawsuits in the past, and you can get those removed because they're professional litigators.
Known litigators.
Literally, that's all they do is stay on the DNC and hope that people call them.
Well,
and
usually
then
they're
litigate.
Attorneys, or they have
Yeah.
a family member who's an attorney, and so
Real
this
estate
is-
agents.
Yeah, it's just a way for
Real
them
estate
to get
agent.
realtors.
Yeah,
are
Realtors that do not sell properties love taking you to small claims court for real, and they'll represent themselves. There's a gal here in town that's done it to 27 people here.
Get out of here.
Swear, 27 and grow. She's on the news. She's on the news bragging about what she does,
That's great.
and she gets new numbers, puts them on the DNC, and then when people call them, then she goes
No.
after. I swear to you, dude.
No,
I swear. She's wild.
She goes and gets new phone
New
numbers.
phone numbers, puts it on the registers DNC, and then waits for the calls to roll in.
Every time one comes in, she's like, "Yeah, I got him."
Right.
So is she like takes it a little farther so she can get the company name and all that?
Of course.
So she fit.
Of course. Whatever it is that people are selling, whether it's gym memberships or whether it's buying her house or whatever, she's like, yeah, absolutely. Sure.
I want to answer a couple of these questions
wild.
for Robin, who's in the chat. He's up in Canada. So Robin, neither Brent or Jerry will be able to tell you these things because they've never wholesaled in Canada. But first, it's very difficult to wholesale in Canada. It's difficult to wholesale properties in Canada because there is no access to sold data. Okay, the Canadian government, for some reason, colludes with the Provincial Association of Real Estate Agents across the country to suppress that information. Okay, they suppress that information, and there's all kinds of litigation right now between Zillow and Redfin against these real estate boards to release this information for the benefit of the public. But for whatever reason, they don't do it. They haven't been successful yet in Canada. And so, Robin, it's very hard to find out how much a property could be worth if it was fixed up without having a real estate license in Canada. My suggestion to you is everybody who I've trained that wholesales that's in Canada virtually wholesales in the United States. So you can, with an internet connection and a cell phone, you can wholesale properties in the United States using either your personal name, or you can get an ITIN number and start an LLC in the United States. But just know that you'll be subject to paying American taxes for earning money in the United States.
I'll tell you something interesting. So we looked at this 3 weeks ago. Jesse Champlain, that's running my PPC stuff, right? We looked up. You search terms in areas to see what the potential pool is for those areas for pay-per-click, right?
Sure.
For Google, bro. Canada, what is it? What's just like by New York and everything?
Ontario,
Yeah.
Toronto, yeah.
There's like 5,000 people, 7,000 people a month searching "sell my house fast."
Crazy.
Nobody's there.
Yeah. No, and it's because there's no sold data. It's because there's no sold data. So it's
How do you not get it? I'm like, how do I figure this thing out?
Well,
Get a license.
how I was able to, and I mean, I cleaned up when I was wholesaling in Canada, but what I had is I didn't need to have sold data,
Right.
because I had the buyers in hand,
Right.
and I knew what they would pay,
Right.
and all that. All I
But if
needed
you
to
have
know
buyers and you can
How
find
hard is it
deals,
to get a license, Jamil?
then, in Canada, couple. I mean, it's probably just as easy as it is here.
Comparative.
Couple of
Comparative.
weeks.
Get your license. Get your
Yeah.
license then, and now you got access to it all.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And
but you can assign. Will the title companies know
Oh,
what the
hell
heck
yeah.
you're
It's
talking
called,
about?
It's called a skip transfer.
Right. I love that.
Yeah, it's called a skip transfer. It's not called an assignment in Canada. It's called a skip transfer.
That's cool.
And do the title companies know how to do them?
It's not a title company. You go to a closing attorney, but they absolutely do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if
They don't have title insurance there?
no.
Really?
Yeah.
That's got to be crazy.
I would, if I was there, I'd be getting my
You could
license.
just file
I mean,
yeah.
guys, look at where you need I would look at that as like that barrier to entry to get a license is going to give you an advantage because of everybody not willing to do it. Right? Same problem here.
Yep.
And Robin, actually, funny enough, I'm going to be in Canada next week. If you're in Calgary at some time, I'll meet you for a coffee or whatever, and I'll meet you at Timmy's, and I'll show you a way.
Poutine?
I hacked a way on how to figure out how much stuff is worth in Calgary. It's not super accurate, but it's about 80% accurate. And then if you're really smart, you'll just start making lower offers, or you'll start door knocking on people, and you won't do on markets. You'll door knock people, and you'll kind of have a range on how much stuff is worth per square foot, and then just go and start cleaning up.
We're gonna get some ketchup chips.
All
And
dressed, yes.
And a Wonder Bar. What are those called?
Coffee Crisp.
Crunchy. Yeah.
Oh, crunchies are so good, dude.
Oh man, Canada has the best candy ever.
They sure do. We also have a delicacy called poutine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
McDonald's, you can get poutine.
Everywhere. Yeah. It's when you smother crap all over a teenager.
Poutine. It's a play on words, people. Yeah, I get it. Jerry, could you do another insightful video on current legislation and regulations in the industry? I like your perspective as an expert.
Yeah, it's been a little quiet lately. You know, I try to watch this quite closely.
Yep.
And there hasn't been any. I mean, we had a cluster earlier this year where there was like 4 or 5 states, like boom, 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 and then it's been a little quiet. I am monitoring a couple of bills that seem to be kind of stagnant. So, but yeah, I mean, as soon as how
many states, Jerry? How many states is it?
Boy, I mean, there's at least a dozen.
A dozen that have some sort of regulation. Do you know of those, how many of them require a real estate license? We know Illinois.
Yeah, most of them want a license.
Kansas.
Yep, I can give you the whole list if you want, but yeah,
that'd be really helpful.
Yep, I
feel like there's nuance in all of them, and it's like, oh, okay, well, you need a license or you don't need a license. You just have to register your business, and then this city is different than that city, and then in Atlanta, you can't market to people in foreclosure or something. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I made a page where I update this every time something changes. I update it. If you go to wholesaleregulation.com, I think it is.
Yep.
Then what I did is I go through all the laws and I do a really good summary. I reference where these bills are, where they passed, but it gives you like a breakdown of each state. That
how much do people have to pay to access this research you've done, Jerry?
Free. Come on now.
My goodness.
And I put a lot of work into that.
I know you did. I'm just I'm trying to point it out to people that you guys see that you've got this community is pretty incredible. We got people in the community who are who are really out there trying to give you as much information and make this business model as easy as possible. Yep. Don't let the idea of this fiction in your head that wholesaling is going to become banned across the United States stop you from learning how to do this game. No. I can't tell you how many DMs I get from people and they're just using it as a cop-out. Hey, Jamil, it looks like wholesaling is going to get banned sometime soon here. So, you know, what would you suggest somebody do instead of wholesaling? Oh, my goodness. Really?
Or should I do it? Should I do it? There's regulation. Should I do it? What do you mean, should you do it? The reason why we talk about it, the reason why we put these reports out is so that you can be informed of what's happening, so you can transact correctly, but also so you know how to pivot, so you know what's going on and what the moves are. And, you know, like, that's why we're doing it. You think a regulation is going to stop a Brent Daniels from making millions of dollars? It doesn't matter what law they pass. Brent's going to pivot and he's going to keep going, and he's probably going to make more money because he knows how to, you know, open doors. Like, you kick the door open if you need to.
Well, listen, finding great real estate deals is a $1 million skill, multi-million-dollar skill. And once you develop that skill, that's something that people can't take away from you. You're always going to be able to find great opportunities in this country, I believe. And I know that it's different in Europe. I know that it has to get passed by, you have to go through government agencies and they have to approve what you can buy and sell real estate for. And it's this whole nightmare. Well, here in the United States, we get to go out there as adults and have conversations with other adults about buying their stuff.
Adult conversations?
Yes. We get to have adult conversations about real estate and about buying their stuff. And that's a free market society. It's awesome.
It's great.
And so we get to go out and develop the skill of finding great real estate deals. And you do that. It doesn't matter what state you're in. It doesn't matter what the regulations are. There's a way to go out and build the skill of finding great real estate deals. That is a fact. So once you understand that and start focusing on building that skill, you literally, and I'm going to go into the cash flow quadrant here in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but we all know that there's only 4 ways to make money income. You're an employee, you have a job, you work for somebody else, self-employed. This is where you build a specialized skill. Specialized skill. You can instantly go and be self-employed today, in this moment, by developing the skill of finding great real estate deals. That's how you start this business. That's how you start going. And you start building that skill and you start recognizing potential in the marketplace. You start building the connections with people. You do that over and over and over again, and then you create an actual business out of it. And then you fire yourself from certain parts in that business. And now it's a servant to you. You're not a servant to it. You are now working on the business, not in the business, but you cannot skip the skill, skip the step of building the specialized skill. Everybody out there that thinks that the specialized skill is going to be done by a $4 VA or a $7 VA, you are already out of business. You're already out of business. You can't skip it. You can't skip this. Right?
I 100% agree.
Here's all the states.
I think hiring a VA to do stuff that you haven't done yet.
Yeah. Here, let me hire you to do something I don't know how to do. Here's all the states. I'll read them off real quick. Now, guys, there's varying degrees of what you can and can't do and what the laws are and stuff. So go to that report if you want the details. But it's Illinois, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Arizona, Kentucky, North Dakota, Alabama, Oregon, Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa, Virginia, Pennsylvania, the city of Philadelphia, the city of Atlanta, South Carolina, and then there's a couple I'm tracking, one in Connecticut, another one in Ohio. Maryland's died, and so did Arkansas's. Two bills that didn't pass. So what is that?
That's not all that require licenses. Get that report, download, and see what's going on.
As you heard him say, Arizona, and we wholesale buku houses in Arizona. Yeah. Everybody in here wholesales in Arizona. So all that Jerry is saying is that there are certain rules in the states that he just mentioned that you have to follow. That's it. And in Arizona, I just have to disclose.
Disclosure. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, Arizona is one of the easiest ones, but a lot of them require licensing and certain things, and there's workarounds and so on. So you just got to learn it. That's all. Just get
and that's mostly the nuance there. Really, Jerry, it's mostly the marketing of a property that you don't own is the issue that they have. It's not that you get great deals. It's not that you are that you make profit as a real estate investor. It's none of that. It is the fact that there's marketing of deals, marketing of a contract of a property you don't own. They believe that you're just marketing it. And if you're going to market a property, then you need to have a real estate license. Partner with a real estate agent. Get your license. Do whatever it takes. Because I'm telling you, all the other people are going to run scared. They're going to run scared, and it's a blue ocean. My Chicago wholesalers.
Yeah. My Chicago or, dudes in South Carolina right now are
killing it.
Smashing over there.
Smashing.
Because everybody's just like, I don't want to do it.
We have a guy getting 16 times our ROI from pay-per-click.
In South Carolina?
In South Carolina.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Is that my boy Hugh? No, he's not doing PPC with you.
No.
Hugh
boy?
Hugh boy, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing PPC with me.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Is
killing
he in South Carolina? I thought he was Georgia.
He's in Georgia and South Carolina.
Yeah. Hugh just locked up a deal for, what was it? Hugh boy. 55K.
Yeah, he's amazing.
PPC,
dude.
baby.
He's coming to meet us in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Yeah. Which, by the way, we're pretty full, but we can squeeze some more in there, right, Jamil?
Yeah.
We got room.
What do we got? 3 seats left? Dude, we only got 3 seats left at our mastermind in Puerto Rico. If you guys want to learn how to get free leads and sit and actually do agent outreach with Jerry and I over 3 days, We're going to hone in and hand train you.
Yeah.
Go to jerryandjamil.com.
Guys, you will not get a better return on any investment this
Absolutely.
year than this. I am telling you to go and be in a small group with Jamil and Jerry and literally just build the skill right there.
Yeah. And it's guys, no passport. It's the American dollar. Flights are pretty reasonable. You're staying at my hotel there. It's in the event center in the hotel. Jamil and I are going to be, breaking bread with you and spending time with you. And it's small group, or this is not a big group, this small group. So yeah, it's going to be really good.
Like 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
It's super small.
It's the biggest no-brainer this year. Easy. It's
I
awesome.
just put the web address in my pinned messages on my YouTube, jerryandjamil.com. Come hang out.
I got one here. Galaxy Big Bird question. What's the difference between the BRRRR method and co-living? Or are they the same? If they're different, what's the pros and cons? I should know when deciding which method to go with.
Okay, well, they are not different. Here's what I need you to understand, Galaxy Big Bird. That when we're talking about a traditional BRRRR, right? You're putting in a long-term tenant into that property. And it's just one long-term tenant. And so, but the difference between a traditional BRRRR and the co-living model is co-living. First, we renovate the property to suit co-living. It's not going to be the same type of property renovation that you would have in a long-term rental. So we're very specific on how we renovate these homes so that we can retain our tenants. Now, what the one difference is what Brent had pointed out earlier, is that when you go to refinance on a BRRRR, often what they're doing is they're using sold comps to justify value. Whereas on the DSCR loan that we get, you are getting an appraisal based off of income.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, because these properties are generating crazy cash flow, the value is higher. And that allows you to pull out much more of your money. And so they're the same, but different. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, I would describe it like this. The BRRRR is just a strategy of buy it, renovate it, rent it, repeat. But what you do with it is what Jamil's saying is co-living is one method of renting where you're doing a very specific type of rental. But BRRRR is just that process of buying a discounted property, renovating it, renting it, refinancing, repeating the process. So you could BRRRR co-living, you could BRRRR short-term rentals, you could BRRRR long-term rentals. BRRRR is just the way of the strategy of how you're taking it from beginning to end.
I was talking to a loan officer, Aaron Chapman. He does more investor loans than anybody else in the country. And his suggestion for BRRRR is interesting. And this is not for co-living, so it's a bit different. He says refinance it before you rent it. Because it's looking pristine and beautiful and it doesn't have the tenants in there, unboxing stuff and getting everything. So it just looks better. It looks more valuable. He suggests get the appraisal done before you then rent.
How are they doing that without rental income?
You would just get the estimated rental income.
Estimated rental income, or they're doing it on sold comp. So I don't think they're going to be able to push the value as high. It could, but you know what? Who knows? Because
totally different.
Yeah, totally different. Because what he's talking about is we're not
comps.
Yeah, it's on sold comps, not on the income approach. There's two ways to appraise a property, right? There's the sales approach and the income approach. Mm-hmm. Typically, they only do the income approach on commercial and multifamily, but we are getting them to do the income approach on these single family houses based off of how we're renting them out.
Yeah. By the way, Lori Crosby, no, you do not need a passport to go or come back. No passport at all. Just
Pansy asked Jerry, is there a shuttle from the hotel? It sounds like Pansy wants to book her ticket.
Come on, Pansy.
Is there a shuttle from the airport to the hotel?
It's a 10-minute Uber ride. It's a $10 Uber ride from the airport to the hotel.
Jerry owns the airport and the hotel. It's all the same building. All right.
There's
super 14 easy. People that'll be on the island that day.
Yeah. And you don't need to rent a car. Like, we got you. Just Uber yourself to the hotel and you're set.
How do we make sure a buyer doesn't go around our back if virtually wholesale? What if the buyer wants to go see the property and they start discussing intentions with the realtor? Disclose up front?
That also, I will send a property specialist to showings to make sure shenanigans don't happen. But I also share my rules with the buyers. My buyers are very well versed on what they can and can't do. And if they break those rules, I will not sell them or send them any new deals. And so I think you have the conversation ahead of time. You educate your buyer on the do's and the don'ts. You also make your real estate agents aware that you are wholesaling so that you don't have, or that you could potentially wholesale the deal. I disclose it on all my contracts, and my agents are fully aware that we wholesale as an exit strategy. And so there is no backdoor because I'm also under contract. And so even if they do go there and they start, creating issues, and they say to the agent, or they say to the seller, hey man, this guy's trying to sell me the contract that he has on this house for like $10,000 more than what he paid you for it.
That's
so
nice. So
because I'm under contract, they have a legal obligation to sell to me. Yeah. So Graydon, I love the question. And I think it's important that you think about the things that you're thinking about. It shows that you're an intelligent man. But I also want you to remember that that's a scarcity perspective. When you see something and you look at the negative, when you skew to the negative thing about it, right? You're looking at it from a point of view of the world is dirty and people are bad and I'm going to get screwed. And you don't get in life what you deserve. You get what you expect. Mm-hmm. So if you expect that, friend, you're going to attract that. For me, I don't expect the worst from people. I expect the best out of people. Now, have I seen the worst? Absolutely. But do I get the best most of the time? You better believe it.
The other thing too, Jamil, is what I would do grading here is most of these properties are vacant. I mean, sometimes they're occupied, but if they're vacant, then I get written right in my contract with the agent that I have unlimited access to the property via a lockbox. Now, some agents push back on this because they feel like they need to be there if you're going to see it. But I mean, these are distressed properties. So I tell the agent, I say, look, are you worried about something happening? Okay, no, there's nothing to steal here. There's nothing to worry about here. I really need access because I got to get over here with my contractors, my investors, my partners. I need access to this property. And I can't call you instead of showing every time I need to get over here with a contractor. It would be really complicated to do that. So let's put a lockbox on there if there isn't one already. I need the code and I need to be able to get in there. I promise I'll lock it up and we won't leave the door open or anything. And I get that in writing in the contract. And then it's fine. Then they don't need to be there and I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, guys, talk to the seller. Let them know. I mean, it's in our purchase agreement that we have the right to market the property before we close. And so we explain that to them as one of the exit strategies is we're going to tell our friends and the people that we know that might be interested in buying this property from us about the property. And so if for some reason somebody comes up and they start talking to you and are interested in trying to work a deal between you and them, just refer them over to me and I'll have that conversation and educate them on the fact that we have a binding agreement. And usually we've had a ton of sellers that are like, oh my gosh, this scumbag came by and they were trying to buy our house. And I told them that we're working with you and blah, blah, you know what I mean? And it's all because we actually went through the purchase agreement, explained that part of it. So it wasn't a big surprise and already let the seller know what to do and how to respond if that happens. It's the seller that you have to really, be on the same page with. Some buyer, somebody, we had somebody back in the day, I mean, and it was going on a bunch that would just hire people off Craigslist to go take our posting of our deal and tell them that we're trying to sell it and that he's got somebody else that could buy it for more.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
yeah.
And
so that was a strategy for some people. The other thing I'll tell you is this, guys, and this is really,
they're not around anymore.
They're not around anymore. And those guys,
I
chased
always them out of town.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, you can't build a long predictable, long-lasting, predictable, profitable business by doing business the wrong way. It just doesn't work.
You can maybe get to the top, but you can't stay on the top unless you're running an honest operation.
That's it. And so, but one thing that I will tell you guys, you have to educate and this is happening a lot, not a lot, but it's maybe a couple times a month. Other buyers will go in and put a ridiculous offer on a property, right? Ridiculous offer. We can offer 240, they're at 350, right? You know, something ridiculous, just to put it under contract, just to put a memorandum on it, just to shake down whatever new buyer comes into the picture after they can't close that deal and shake them down for $10,000. You need to educate your sellers and let them know that this is happening. If they sign a purchase agreement with somebody else, they can put a cloud on their title. Okay. So make sure that they're doing business with people that have great reputations and have their best interest in mind. And really hammer that in there and really have that conversation, because a lot of sellers are getting hurt. And then that's even beyond just hurting the sellers, it's hurting the business, it's hurting the industry. And that's why you see so many people crying for regulations, especially real estate agents, because they think it's all a scam, because they think that that's what our industry does. Just lock it up for whatever and then put a lien on the property and then get paid to that. You're basically just like holding them hostage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's extortion.
Yeah. That's it. That's the word. Yep. So you go, Jerry. So Jerry, when is your guys' event? Let's wrap this thing up, huh?
Coming up here in what, Jamil, 2 weeks?
Next week. We start what date? On
13th, I want to say.
The 13th. Yeah. So I'm coming in on the night of the 12th. So 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, we are in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Rico. That's a week and a half. So Pansy, get your ticket. We got 3 seats left. 3.
Yeah.
And I seen that there were people in the chat right now that were saying 3 of them sounded like they wanted to. Hey, you get it. You guys get it. No.
Well, I'm telling you, the only reason that there's even 3 is because you guys decided to do this right in the middle of the most contentious election of all time, right? Like right afterwards. And so, guys, this is your opportunity to slip right in there. I'm telling you, you will not have an opportunity like this ever again. There's no way. There's no way that you're going to get Jerry and Jamil for days on end teaching you, holding your hand, doing the work in Puerto Rico.
I think
with 20 people in the room.
There was
You guys are bananas.
I really wanted to go to Puerto Rico.
Right.
There was one thing. The second thing is Jerry and I love making content with each other.
Yep.
And so we were like, okay, well, let's get Jamil out to Puerto Rico and let's shoot some content. And then that was that was actually all that was going to happen. But then as we were sitting there making content together, like, wouldn't it be cool if we just invited a handful of people to come and just kick it with us, and we'd just blow people's minds and really elevate them over a small period of time. And that's how that happened.
We made our master class, and it was just like doing the master class, Jamil. It was like on my YouTube channel, we've done now what have you done? 7, 8 videos, I think, are on there now. And we did like a deep dive on all these different areas, and we just
Sherry Fitzgerald and Pansy are both saying they're jumping in right now. So there'll be 1 seat left.
Let's get Myron. Come on, Myron. I see Myron's asking, like, what's going on? I don't want to miss it. Come on, Myron. That would be awesome. But yeah, it's all kind of come together. And you're right. You know, we don't know if we're going to do this again. I mean, Jamil's taken a whole week out of his busy schedule. I am too. Just to be with a small group. I don't know if we'll do it again, but I
can tell you that you and I will look at each other at the end of the week and say, that was a lot of fun.
Big commitment.
Good. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I probably not going to do that again, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And the people who show up are going to they're definitely going to get their money's worth. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Yep. It's going to be good.
Yeah, best deal of the year, guys. Go check that out. JerryandJamil.com. There's a couple more spots. Make sure you sneak in there and take advantage of that. That's $1 million skill. $1 million skill established.
So
awesome.
we're at the end of time, but tomorrow's D-Day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
I think we won't know for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being real,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just there's going to be a lot of they
I can't,
don't even
I
start
can't, I
counting
can't
votes
wait. I can't wait because I'm
until
just
tomorrow nailed in Pennsylvania and some of these other areas. You know what I mean? Who
I
knows?
can't wait because I'm just so sick and tired of all of the news and the texts that I get and all of it. I'm
Oh,
like,
the
my
text
God.
messages are insane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my
wild.
God.
All those guys are going to need a job, so we're going to hire all those people
Yeah.
that no longer work for the election. It's a text message. No. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure that you guys check out each and every one of our YouTube channels. If you're not subscribed, make sure that you do subscribe. We give you the purest form of instruction and encouragement on those channels. We put a lot of love and attention there. So go to Jerry's, go to Jamil's, go to Pace, go to mine, go to all of ours. You're going to find something unique in each and every one of those. Make sure that you subscribe. And if you're interested in getting pay-per-click leads, do you mind if I plug real quick?
Please
Because
go.
we're going
Go for it.
bananas.
Let's go.
Talk2people.com, guys. Talk2people.com. Nobody gets better pay-per-click leads than we do here. And it's in-house. It's with me. And it's bananas. So go to talk2people.com and check that out. That is Wholesale Hotline. We are out.
Peace.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.